Hi, hi, hi.
From the heart of Delta State, you are tuned in to Srtv Asaba.
Morning and welcome to Srtv Morning News, reaching you live from our studios in Asaba, Delta State. It's Thursday, the 13th, and I'm Obama Gabriel Joy. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. As we bring you major stories this morning, making headlines across the country and beyond. Police ban Amotekun vigilantes and other non-state security outfits from election duties, while NAMS demand release or prosecution of detained student leader. ADC raises alarm over alleged plan to arrest its National Secretary Rauf Aregbesola, while lawyer Effiong calls for the prosecution of Senator Francis Fadaunsi over alleged inflammatory remarks. NNPC says Nigeria's new deep offshore incentive framework could unlock up to $50 billion in fresh investment. Federal government unveils new mechanization policy and plans tractor assembly plants capable of producing up to 4,000 tractors annually. The police arrest 4 suspected armed robbers and cultists in Lagos, while a hit-and-run driver kills 2 men in Enugu. Celestial Church begins investigation into the circumstances surrounding actress Temitope Oshoba's death, while veteran actor Sunday Afolabi speaks about the hardship that pushed him into commercial transport work. Arsenal defeats Como on penalties in their final preseason game, while PSG retain the UEFA Super Cup. Those are the headlines. Now the news in detail. The Nigerian police force has barred Amotekun vigilante groups, Hunters Association, and other non-state security outfits from participating in security operations during Saturday's Osun State governorship elections. The directive was issued by the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, ahead of the August 15 election. The police said the affected groups are not authorized to escort electoral materials, guard polling units, mount checkpoints, or carry arms during the election. The force warned political parties, candidates, and their supporters against engaging or deploying such groups for election-related activities. It also warned that anyone who sponsors or deploys unauthorized security outfits will be arrested and prosecuted. The police further warned against ballot snatching, voter intimidation, vote buying, and clashes between rival supporters. The force said anyone involved in electoral violence would face the full weight of the law, regardless of political affiliation or status. The police directives comes amid growing political tension in Osun State, with opposition parties raising concerns about the conduct of security agencies ahead of Saturday's poll. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS Southwest Zone, has given the Osun State Police Command 24 hours to either charge detained student leader Alalade Felix, popularly known as Machiavelli, to court, or to release him. Nance said its leadership visited the police command in Oshogbo following Alalade's arrest and continued detention. According to the association, Alalade's wife alleged that police operatives arrived at their residence around 1 a.m., forced their way into their house, and took him away without properly informing the family where he was being taken. Nance said Alalade was initially traced to the area command in Ilesa before being transferred to the state Criminal Investigation Department in Oshogbo. The police allegedly linked him to a violent incident during a political procession and claimed video evidence existed. Nance, however, said no credible evidence was presented to its delegation during its visit to the command. The student body insisted that an allegation should not become a substitute for judicial scrutiny. It has therefore given the police 24 hours to either prosecute Alalade or to release him. Nance warned that failure to resolve the matter lawfully could lead to peaceful and organized mass action. Still in Osun State, human rights lawyer Inibehe Effiong has criticized the release of Senator Francis Fadaunsi after he was questioned by the police over comments in a viral video. Fadaunsi, who represents Osun East Senatorial District, had been invited by the police after a video surfaced in which he was allegedly heard making comments interpreted as a threat against members of the Accord Party. The senator later explained that he meant defeating the party at the ballot box and not physically harming its members. Effiong, however, rejected the explanation and described the alleged remarks as reckless and capable of heightening political tension ahead of Saturday's election. The lawyer called on the Inspector General of Police to prosecute the senator if the police established that an offense was committed. He also accused the Osun Police Command of appearing unwilling to take further action after releasing the senator. And while political parties continue to trade accusations ahead of the election, another opposition party says it has received reports of a possible arrest of one of its key leaders. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, says it has received what it described as credible reports of a plan to arrest its National Secretary, Rauf Aregbesola, ahead of Saturday's Osun governorship election. In a statement, the party said it was concerned that the alleged arrest could disrupt its election activities. Aregbesola is a former governor of Osun State and former minister of the Interior. The ADC warned that any attempt to arrest him on the eve of an election in which the party is participating could raise questions about the motive behind such action. The party called on the federal government and security agencies to respect democratic principles and allow political parties to freely participate in the election. It also warned against actions capable of plunging Osun State into political crisis. Away from politics now, the federal government is seeking to attract billions of dollars into Nigeria's oil sector, while agricultural policies targeting increased mechanization and local production. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, sorry about that, says the federal government's new deep offshore incentive framework could unlock up to $50 billion in new investments. NNPC Group Chief Executive Officer Bayo Ojulari said the new framework could replace years of case-by-case negotiations with a clear and more transparent regime for investors. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently signed the Deep Offshore Oil and Gas Project Incentive Tax Remission Order 2026. Now, Ojulari said the Bonga Southwest project is expected to be its first beneficiary. He added that NNPC is ready to implement the amended production sharing contract framework as the federal government's nominated counterparty. According to him, the policy could create jobs, deepen local supply chains, and support Nigeria's ambition of producing 3 million barrels of crude oil a day by 2030. Also in the economy, the federal government has unveiled the National Agricultural Mechanization Policy and National Agricultural Mechanization Investment Strategy. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, announced the policy in Abuja. Under the program, government plans to establish a mega tractor assembly plant capable of producing between 2,000 and 4,000 tractors annually. The government has also commenced the procurement and deployment of 2,000 tractors and more than 9,000 assorted implements and spare parts. The minister said the goal is to move Nigeria from agricultural potential to food sovereignty. He stressed that mechanization should go beyond tractor ownership to include planting, irrigation, harvesting, processing, storage, logistics, and digital technology. The government says the tractor or the tractor assembly plant will reduce dependence on imported machinery. It will create jobs and support local manufacturing. The Northern Senators Forum has called on the federal and Niger state governments to develop a permanent solution to reoccurring flooding in Shiroro local government area. The senators are proposing a Shiroro flood management master plan. The plan, according to them, should include improved flood forecasting, early warning systems, better dam management, and the resettlement of communities repeatedly affected by flooding. They also called for an independent technical review of the operations and capacity of the Shiroro, Kanji Dam, Kanji and Jeba dams, actually. The senators said emergency relief alone cannot solve the reoccurring problem and urged authorities to move towards long-term preventive measures. Now to security and public safety, where police authorities in Lagos and Enugu have reported separate developments. And the Lagos State Police Command says it has arrested 4 suspected members of a criminal gang allegedly linked to recent killings, armed robbery, and cult-related activities around Aja. The suspects were identified as Karim Abiodun, Tansiru Emmanuel, Latif Usman, and Alashe Aziz. Police said 3 locally made pistols, live ammunition, 2 battle axes, and a point-of-sale machine were recovered. According to the command, the suspects were linked to robbery activities around Aja, Songotedo, and Ibejuleki. Police said the suspect also allegedly made confessional statements concerning armed robbery, murder, and cultism. They remain in custody as investigators continue, while efforts are underway to apprehend other members of the gang. In Enugu, 2 men have been killed in a hit-and-run crash at Airport Corner. Emene, in Enugu East local government area. The incident happened on Wednesday morning when a driver allegedly lost control of his vehicle while traveling at high speed. According to the eyewitnesses, one of the victims had stopped his vehicle after it developed a fault and was returning tools to a mechanic when it was hit. He reportedly died instantly. The driver allegedly went on to hit another man, killing him before fleeing the scene. The Enugu State Police Command says investigation is ongoing to identify and arrest the driver. The incident comes days after the police ordered stricter enforcement of traffic laws across the state. In Gombe State, a 64-year-old man has been arrested after allegedly sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl. The suspect, identified as Abubakar Ali, was arrested following a report by the girl's mother. According to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the suspect admitted during questioning that the incident occurred on 3 occasions. The NSCDC says the matter will be taken to court after investigation. The case is being prosecuted under relevant provisions of the Gombe State Penal Code and Child Protection Law. In other developments across the country, Ajao Adewale has assumed duty as the 39th Commissioner of Police in Bayelsa State. He takes over from Iyama Edobo, who was recently promoted to the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police. The new commissioner previously served as Commissioner of Police, Administration Force CID Annex, Gombe, and also as Commissioner of Police in the Federal Capital Territory. The Bayelsa Police Command has called on residents to support the new commissioner in maintaining peace and security in the state. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has ordered the immediate closure of the Secretariat of the dissolved ad hoc committee on the sale of federal government houses in the Federal Capital Territory. The FCT administration says a new division under the Department of Land Administration will now handle matters concerning the sale of federal government houses. Members of the public have also been warned against fraudsters claiming to represent the dissolved committee. Meanwhile, maritime workers, custom agents, and other stakeholders at the Onne port in Rivers State have threatened to shut down operations over the poor condition of internal roads and the payment of e-collop levies by trucks. The stakeholders have given the federal government a 4-day ultimatum to address their concerns. They warned that failure to act could lead to a shutdown of business activities at the port. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Katsina Command has denied reports that a serving duty commandant was convicted for job racketeering. The command explained that although an individual had been convicted, the person had already retired from the Corps before the judgment. The NSCDC warned members of the public against recruitment fraudsters and advised job seekers to rely only on official recruitment channels. And now we move to entertainment. The Celestial Church of Christ says it has launched a discreet investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of Nollywood actress Temitope Oshoba. The development follows allegations involving her fiancé, Prophet Itunu Onadeko. The church said it was disturbed that one of its shepherds had been linked to the controversy and that its name had consequently been dragged into the matter. It also stressed that practices such as idolatry, black magic, cultism, and the use of charms are not permitted under its doctrine. Oshoba died on August 5th at the age of 40. Her burial, which was scheduled to take place in Iperu, Remo, Ogun State, has now been postponed indefinitely by her family. Meanwhile, actress Toyosi Adesanya has allegedly or alleged that some Nollywood practitioners refused to support Temitope Oshoba's burial because they claimed she was not a member of TAMPAN, which is TAMPAN. The Adesanya, who is the National Director of Social and Welfare of TAMPAN, made the allegation during a candlelight procession held in honor of Oshoba. She called on entertainment practitioners to support one another while alive and condemned what she described as hypocrisy within the industry. Adesanya said Oshoba was a member of the Etiusa chapter of the association. She urged practitioners to replace rivalry with genuine support and unity. Meanwhile, veteran actor Sunday Afolabi has explained how financial hardship and the distance between his home and Lagos film locations has affected his acting career. Let's take a look.
To Badagry just because I wanted to have a building of my own. It has really affected my career. It has caused a lot of setback, especially for my maid.
A video of you went viral.
I actually relocated to Badagry just because I wanted to have a building of my own. It has really affected my career. It has caused a lot of setback, especially for my major profession, which is acting.
A few months ago, a video of you went viral. You were driving a bus and it got people talking.
I lost my Nissan Quest, ordinary shock absorber. It was there for almost 2 years. I was into photography, you know. Ibẹ̀ ni camera bàjẹ́ sí. In fact, èyí wọ́n rí yẹn tí wọ́n feel fún mi nǹkan kékeré ni. I actually sold my Nissan Quest to buy Okada. Fairly, owó yẹn ò ká owó.
Kò ká owó tuntun. Èló ló ra mọ́tò yẹn?
180,000.
1,000.
Nǹkan míì tó tún burú tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣẹlẹ̀. Mi ò use mọ́ṣẹ́ Okada. Mo kàn ń ṣubú ṣeré ni. Torí ìjà tí bá ti rántí irú ìyà tí ìyàwó mi àtàwọn ọmọ ti jẹ pẹ̀lú mi. Máa kan wá rí mi, ó wá bú mi gan. Ṣé ìwọ nìkan ni? You're a TV star. Tó o bá mọ nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe, padà lọ sí town lọ bá àwọn èèyàn ẹ. As an actor pé òun mọ̀ mi pé ìfapò ti ẹ̀ rí mi bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn pé inú òun ò dùn. Ó ṣe rí mi. Mo sorry. Láti 1970 ni mo ti dé kó. Theatre job pẹ̀lú Adelo. Ìlú lèmi máa ń lù tẹ̀lé wọn gbà yẹn. I joined NTA when it was ANTPC àbí NTPC or something. Discover pa àwọn mo ní more fans lórí Owo Blow, Chased by Moonlight, Village Master, Super Story, Nowhere to be Found. I tried to be a tailor, but it didn't work. Wow. I learned how to fix solar. So if I call myself jack of all trade, I'm master of all. Nǹkan tí mo kórìíra jù láyé mi ni pé kí nǹkan kan ṣẹlẹ̀ ní pé a ní láti máa tọrọ jẹ. I'd rather do any legitimate job.
At your age, ẹ ṣì decide pé ẹ fẹ́ lẹ́ni kankan just to put food on your table.
Mò ń pèrò ìtorí pé ó jẹ́ kóró pé ni mò ń lò. Ó ṣe mú embarrassment wá, òun ni mo ṣe ní láti pèrò. Tẹ́ńjì tí ní àkín change ẹ̀. Ẹni tó bá ti jẹ́ṣẹ́, mo ready láti ṣe. Tí n bá rí car, tí n bá ní access car, màá lè ṣe Uber.
That kóró pé is not working anymore. The engine is bad and all of that. I need help for Mr. Afolabi. If you have a car that you are not using, I'll drop his account details. Please, we can get a Corolla gets him a better accommodation in a city, gets him a car for Uber. We have done it before on Talk to Be. We will do it again. And God will take all the glory.
As we have heard, Afolabi said he has no shame in doing legitimate work rather than for him to beg. He would rather do legitimate work. So he has appealed for assistance with accommodation and a reliable vehicle that could allow him to work as an Uber driver while returning to the acting industry. And finally, let's move to sports, where Arsenal has completed their pre-season campaign with a shootout victory, while PSG have added another European trophy to their collection. Arsenal defeated Como 1907 by 4-3 on penalties in their final pre-season match at the Emirates Stadium. The game ended 1-1 after 19 minutes. Miles Lewis Kelly gave Arsenal the lead before Martin Baturina equalized for Como before halftime. The match was eventually decided by penalties. Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya was the hero, saving efforts from Ivan Smosek, sorry about that, and former Chelsea striker Alvaro Morata. Christos converted the decisive penalty to give Arsenal the victory. The Gunners will now turn their attention to the Community Shield against Manchester City on Sunday. Paris Saint-Germain has defeated Aston Villa 2-1 to retain the UEFA Super Cup. I can't pronounce his name. He gave a PSG the lead before Aston Villa's 17-year-old Bran Nacho equalized. Desire Doué eventually scored the winning goal in the second half to hand PSG another European trophy. The victory makes PSG only the third club to win the UEFA Super Cup in consecutive years. And in African football, the women's football, Malawi have reached their first ever Women's Africa Cup of Nations, finally after defeating Algeria 3-1. The Chawinga sisters, Tabitha and Temwa, were decisive for the Scorchers, scoring all three of Malawi goals. Malawi took advantage of Algeria's first half red card and went into the break 2 goals ahead. Algeria pulled one back after the restart, but Tabitha Chawinga restored Malawi's 2-goal advantage. The victory sent Malawi into a historic first WAFCON final. And before we go, let's take a look at the weather forecast for today, Thursday, 13th of August, 2026. According to the country, expected to experience thunderstorms and rainfall today. In the northern states, morning thunderstorms with light rainfall are expected over parts of Taraba, Kano, Katsina, Jigawa, and Adamawa. More thunderstorms and moderate rainfall are expected in parts of Bauchi and Taraba later in the day, with light rainfall possible across several other northern states. For the central states, morning thunderstorms and light rainfall are expected over parts of Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue, Niger, and the Federal Capital Territory, with more widespread rainfall expected in the afternoon and in the evening. In the southern states, cloudy conditions and light morning rainfall are expected over parts of Cross River and Akwa Ibom, with light rainfall becoming more widespread later in the day. NIMET advises residents to exercise caution during thunderstorms as strong winds may precede the storms. Motorists are also advised to avoid driving through flooded roads, while electrical appliances should be disconnected when necessary during thunderstorms. And that wraps it up for today's SRTV morning news. from the political tension ahead of the Osun governorship election to development in the economy, security, weather, entertainment, and sports. We will continue to bring you the stories that matter. Thank you for staying with us. Coming up at 10 a.m. is State of the Nation with Daddy Chris. Stay tuned. I'm Abawan Gabriel Joy. Enjoy a productive first day. Good morning.